Any observations, Rich?
Yeah,
to get the
before
day
we
going?
get to all that, I just feel like, as they call it, Black Monday after the NFL season, coaches get fired. It's inevitable every year. The carousel of coaches continues to keep rolling along.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought about it. You know, there was something Gronk said about Mayo and the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Take a listen to this. This is a little setup to what I'm thinking.
Already, Gronk, Jerod Mayo out after one season as the Patriots head coach.
I was shocked by that, and to happen that soon was a shocker to a lot of people, especially here at the desk. We were all surprised by that. I think it was unfair to Coach Jerod Mayo. I mean, he had never had the chance to develop as a head coach. He was just a rookie himself in that department. And if you judge a coach by their first year, that's really not appropriate. I mean, Jimmy Johnson, you went 1-15 your first year, and then you won a couple Super Bowls after that. I mean, he really...
Hey, we got to go to break.
All right,
we're going to keep talking about that.
Stop your rambling, Gronk. By the way, I'm shocked that Gronk didn't giggle when he said shocker. Anyway, is coaching the same liability now as a rookie quarterback that gets drafted to the wrong team?
Yes.
Because of the impatience of everyone in general, in society, in sports.
It's a cultural issue. It's not even a football issue. It's just an impatience that we have, an expectation to deliver now, win now, want things now. Even like waiting rooms. I'm not going to get into a Seinfeld bit, like, waiting room.
What's the deal?
I mean, it's why we have the room. Nobody wants to wait around. Young people, old people. I thought it used to be old people who were impatient. Like my dad when he walks into a barber shop. Hey, Dad, why didn't you get a haircut? Yeah, they said I had to wait, so I went home. My dad, but even young people, when you ever see your kids watching a cartoon, if it doesn't kick in right away, they're tuned out. Nobody wants to wait, especially when you're paying millions of dollars for football and to win now. They don't got time for Mayo to figure it out.
As Ronnie Chen, the comedian, doesn't he do the bit Amazon now? Prime now? Like, if they could, people would want Prime now. Like, next day is not enough. Like, you would think, oh, wow, I ordered something and it's going to be on my doorstep tomorrow?
We've talked about this many times with quarterback development, with artist development, record deals, music artists.
Comedians.
There's no grace period in life, let alone football. Especially, like I said, when there's expectations, championships, and millions of dollars on the line.
So, with all that said, with Gronk sticking up for his old pal.
No one's waiting around for results.
I mean, not a great season in New England. But again, his first year, you could say Dan Campbell, his first year for the Lions, they were 3-13. He was trying to start a culture. The next year, they're over 500, and then the last 2 years, they've been fantastic.
Yeah,
so
maybe there's more stir in the Kool-Aid than meets the eye, but I'm with you. You got to give people some time to figure it out.
But in a world, Covino, where patience is just clearly not there, music, comedy, sports, any life in general, a big complaint by the youngest generation is that they started a job. Like a couple months in, they're like, can I get a raise? Like, they don't even realize the idea of, like, putting in your hours and paying your dues. So,
like I said, it used to be old people that was synonymous with being impatient. But I tried watching Mary Poppins with my niece and nephew. And old movies and old school cartoons, it starts with the credits. I don't know if you guys realize what I'm talking about, right? You ever try to watch an old movie with kids today? They're like, why are there credits in the beginning of the movie? Because they want the action now.
You thought your niece and nephew were going to be all about chim chimney, chim chiroo?
Like, what is this? I'm like, it's the credits. They're like, yeah, well, this is boring. They want the fun right then and there. They don't have time to wait. Nobody does, especially the Patriots. Dude, especially when Patriots fans have an expectation, when the Kraft family has an expectation. The controversy became, though, with the Gronk thing is, hey, man, for the first time, he's making a good point and you cut him off. The controversy was like, hey, was he about to say some bad stuff about the Kraft family and that's why they cut him off?
I think Gronk just didn't realize they were going to commercial.
I agree. But if you read social media, the whole conspiracy. Social media takes on a life of itself. The whole spin on it was they were trying to stop him from really speaking his mind on the truth, like how unfair it really was. But I really do think that they probably gave him some extra time, and he stomped over the queue.
Listen, dude, we don't need to, beat a dead horse with the sentiment that society is impatient. But the question I want to ask everybody is, because you know how impatient people are. You know that a band, they put out one good song, you better give me another hit in a month. A comedian does an hour-long comedy special that took them years to craft. If it's a hit, Netflix or HBO or Hulu's telling them, yo, can you pop out another hour special in 6 months? Impatience is a major issue in society. In fact, one of my favorite quotes, and I'll be honest with you.
But it makes sense. The NFL's not it shouldn't be like a learning ground. You know what I mean?
I agree, but one of my favorite quotes, and I can't say that I have, but he or she who masters patience could master anything, because it is very hard to be patient. No one is. But with that said, if you're Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator of the Lions, or you're some hot candidate for a coaching position in any sport, or for that matter, if you're this year's version of Caleb Williams, and you're the top pick, and you are very well going to be judged so quickly, do you look back at guys like Eli Manning and John Elway that said, I'm not playing there, and think a little differently now?
Well, those are people who knew their value, right? Not everybody is John Elway and Peyton Manning.
You don't think Caleb Williams is saying, like, well, if I had the coaching that Jaden Daniels had, and if I, a year ago, C.J. Stroud had a better opportunity. Like,
I am one who says you got to believe in yourself and take your opportunities as they come. Not everybody's elite in that way. It depends on who you are, what your values are. I think you got to take your opportunities. That's especially, you think there's this many slots and spots in football. I believe Howard Stern said it, like in radio, right? We work in radio. He said there's less opportunity in radio than there are in professional sports. You got to take the opportunities when they're given.
Yeah, but
if everybody gets to call that shot.
Yeah, but if you take a trash opportunity, you're setting yourself up. Yeah, you're setting yourself up to be like, that was my chance, and that's what I did. For instance, if you're Ben Johnson, who's like the hottest thing right now, there's like multiple teams that are like, look what he did with the Lions offense, with him and Dan Quinn. Like,
I thought Nate Bargatze was the hottest thing going
Nate
right
Bargatze
now.
made what? How much last year? $80 million?
The highest paid comedian of 2024 with his new Netflix special.
You look at what Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson did.
I thought Nikki Glaser was the hottest thing right now.
She is. But you look at what the Lions coaching staff did in the last couple of years and turned around that franchise.
Yeah.
If you're Ben Johnson, who's getting praised, Giants, Bears, Patriots, everyone wants to interview this guy. And from what I understand, Danny G, would you believe that Ben Johnson makes like head coach money? Spock, can you double check this for me? I think I saw Ben Johnson makes about $5 million a year.
As an offensive coordinator.
And if that's the accurate numbers, then why on earth would this guy go to New England and be like, I'm gonna take on this uphill battle? Don't you want to wait for just the right opportunity? Like, ooh, you got the quarterback I know I could work with. You're rolling out the red carpet. Or do you think any coordinator...
It's a tough question, because that opportunity may never come again. And there's so many factors involved. I get what you're saying. Do you wait for the perfect opportunity, or do you just take your chance and believe in yourself?
Over the last couple of years,
a lot of these dudes believe in themselves to the point where if the money's right and the situation's right, they believe in themselves enough to make it right when they get there.
But what you've seen happen with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and what you've seen with Caleb Williams and, people not living up to the expectation, maybe Trevor Lawrence, certain guys, would you, especially in a time where college athletes already making money with NIL now, is there a part of you that's like...
That might be the changer right there. Like, I don't need the money right now. I'll wait it out.
But I'm saying, like, if you're a star And they're like, yeah, you're going to go to like an organization. I mean, I hate to pick on them, but the Jets. Aaron Rodgers couldn't go there and make anything happen. If you're a young stud quarterback in college football, and they're like, you're likely going to go to the Jets, do you say, no, I'm not?
Because I'm only going to fail, which is a terrible outlook. But, yeah, that's the chance and risk you're taking. Again, if you have that type of power and that star power, and you're one of the few in the world that gets to call that shot, then, yes, I think you take advantage of that opportunity.
What does Eli Manning have two of? What does Eli Manning have two of?
Super Bowls.
What does John Elway have two of?
Super Bowls.
And these are guys that arguably were, pains in the asses when they were a 20-something-year-old kid coming out of college. Like, I don't want to play for the Colts. I don't want to play for the Chargers. They were looked at as like a little problematic. What is this guy doing? Looking back now, is hindsight like, no, they just knew you end up in certain places, it's a death sentence.
Again, I hate to give you two answers, but both could be true here. I think if you are in that position to make that call, you take advantage of it because you know your value, you're confident in that, and you will end up somewhere else. But in life and for other people, any opportunity is a big opportunity. They don't have the luxury of calling that shot. You got to take that opportunity.
Anyone.
So it just depends who you are, but you got to know your value. You got to be certain of who you are and what you're capable of.
Cove, you don't think anyone over you can list, what was the old joke? You could list like 20 names on the back of a jersey. You don't think any of those quarterbacks of the Cleveland Browns over the last decades were like, I'll be the guy. I'm confident enough that I'll be the guy that takes his team to like playoff glory. Baker Mayfield was like one guy they, got anywhere and they let him go.
Yeah, he changed the culture. He was doing a good job.
He was confident enough, but I mean, like, there are teams, and I'm just saying, moving forward, because our impatience won't allow a Jimmy Johnson to go 1-15.
But then I could say, you think Steph Curry wanted to play for the Golden State Warriors, or was he dope enough to make the actual change?
I get what you're saying,
right? But and then he becomes the face of the franchise. Like, there's risk in there's reward in the risk.
Yeah, to me, it's just you see some of these coaching and quarterback opportunities and vacancies, and you're like, man, you'd have to be pretty confident in yourself.
Fox Sports Radio Nation, what Rich is getting at is when you're hot like Hansel and you're hot right now like Ben Johnson, and you're making a good living, you're making head coaching money as an offensive coordinator for the Lions, do you jump at any head coaching opportunity when it's available?
Because the goal really is to what? Become a head coach in the National Football League.
Or do you wait until that perfect opportunity is there? And here's the risk. Sometimes that perfect opportunity never comes. And sometimes one would say there's no such thing as a perfect opportunity.
Say the same about dating.
You make it the best. Exactly.
You can say like,
the best that you can.
I don't know if I want to marry her. Well, she's not perfect for me.
Right.
Like,
there's no such thing as a perfect person for you. You take someone that loves you enough and that you care about enough, and you make it work and you do your best. And that's exactly when we discussed, Rich, here's what I wrote.
I don't think you know what you wrote. What is that? Chicken scratches?
I can't even write what I wrote. Sorry, guys.
You
take opportunities when they're given and do your best with them.
See, I think that is, while you might argue that's good advice, I feel like taking an opportunity just because it's there is old school thinking. Like, hey, man, put your head down and work hard and you'll get there. I think now, as a player...
But you will. I believe in that. I believe in that. Not everybody is Caleb Williams. He's a great example because maybe he did the wrong thing. Not everybody is him, right? Not everybody... I think he had the potential to call the shots, but he didn't.
We said it the other day, buddy. We said it, how when you see Sam Darnold and that meme of him and Baker Mayfield when they were on the Panthers and they look sad, and now it's like, look at them this year. Both playoff quarterbacks. I mean... Those are two success stories. But what about a guy like Daniel Jones or Justin Fields? They made money, but they may never really get the opportunity.
So it's
not automatic.
Fox Sports Radio Nation, the number, 877-99 on Fox. You could chime in at Covino and Rich on social media. If you were in a position like a Ben Johnson, do you take the opportunity when it's given, or do you wait for the perfect situation?
And, another angle, like looking
at... But again, it's case by case. Him, I think he has the luxury to wait. He has money. He's on a winning franchise already.
Dude.
There's no need to make some sort of desperate jump to be a head coach.
Now, I don't know if you'll roll with this example, but I remember you and I were working at ESPN at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in the newsroom with you when they came up with the draft order in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And the world was like, yo, if Zion went to New York, he could totally be the face of basketball in the biggest market. The Knicks need a guy. That could be the start of something. And when the Pelicans got him, and you're like, yeah, what's going to happen? What happened with Anthony Davis where he plays there a couple years and he's like, yo, I'm not winning here, I'll leave. And look, I mean, has Zion lived up to any of what we thought? Yeah, he has good moments here and there, but
no.
Like,
situation matters. No one can deny that.
but that might have been one of the most disappointing scenarios. Like, oh, really? New
But I
Orleans?
always looked at that as part of the luck of the draw. And then you sort of try to create your own destiny from there. But Rich is right. There is a different way of thinking. For some people, that's really what we got to emphasize in parentheses. For some people.
Are you looking at it old school or new school? Is it old? I'm going to categorize old school thinking as, you know what? I'm going to take the opportunity, put my head down and work hard. New school thinking is, yeah, no matter how hard I work, unless I set myself up for success, people won't have patience, and I may get the raw deal.
How do you think like a Shedeur Sanders would be received if he was like, yo, I ain't playing for no weak-ass team?
If Shedeur,
Or is he saying, no, man, I can go there and change the culture around, and there's more reward in that risk, like we said.